Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Jamie and Marcus here.
Welcome to Test of Time.
Love, passion, and hustle in the restaurant business.
Yeah, we've been hustling lately.
We sure have. We've been
Lots
nonstop.
of hustling.
Lots and lots of hustling. So, what number is this? Number 31?
I think 31.
So, episode number 31.
We've been hustling so much we haven't had time to do these.
Yes.
And we feel bad because we have fun doing these.
We sure do.
And
so we're back, and hopefully we'll do a few episodes a week to kind of get caught up and bring you some really cool episodes and some cool information and just our stories. You know, Marcus and I love to travel. We love to talk about our restaurant and what we do and how we do it,
just our journey,
and just exactly. And I think people really appreciate the journey and the realness of what we do and what we are. So
we get a lot of comments on Facebook like, I can't believe you two. You work your butts off. You travel so much.
You're like, I don't even know how you do the things that we do. And I got to tell you, today's one of those days. I don't know where today went. I don't know what, I don't know. I just felt very overloaded today. So, you know, we do a lot of different things. We do 2 community events that raise money for our community and give back to our community a year. And I feel like it takes 6 months to plan each of them. And here we go. So we are
to our Christmas Day soup kitchen.
Yes.
That's happening. Then we have started planning for the annual run,
which we started today.
So we have to plan for a big race, a community race, a 5K race.
Yes.
So and this year has been a whirlwind. 2023.
I don't know where the year went.
I want to share some of our challenges this year with 2023.
First, let's start off with our year. Started off without many challenges, right?
No.
It started off, we became grandparents. Our grandson will be a year old the beginning of January. So that was, that just started our year off with a bang and in a great way. And so we have had some challenges.
Right. And we traveled a lot to see Justin play baseball.
We did.
Justin's doing amazing in baseball, our son. And
but there have been some challenges.
Our biggest challenge has been with staffing.
Yes.
And it didn't start until maybe April.
Yes.
April it didn't start. And
every year we have a little challenge, not as big as this year, but we have a little challenge getting staff for the summertime. Because we're hiring, right, in March, April, and we're hiring staff to bring in for the summer because that's our busiest time. And that can be, challenging every year, but this year has been even more challenging.
It's been a whirlwind. So it all started back in April, end of April, and in May. And it's only been one position in the kitchen. It was one position in the kitchen for most of the year. It was one position in the kitchen. We always have to hire a couple more people on the floor in front of the house. We got one position in the kitchen which usually filled by a summer person that comes from college. And she comes in and she rocks it out.
The last couple of years
she's come in and rocked it out. Yeah. And it's just been amazing to have her. She got an internship this year. She's a law student. She got an internship and couldn't come to us. All of a sudden we found out the last minute. So we're like on our mad scramble to hire this extra person, this extra third person on the line. There's more than 3 people in our kitchen, but the way the kitchen line works, we have 2 main people that work on the line every night. Then they have backups and preps and things like that. But on a busier night, you need a third person on the line to help sort of marry both stations and put the food up and call the tickets, even though we have somebody on the other side that calls the tickets. That was one key position that was consistent with this summer, was our expediter, front of the house expediter. Yes. She was really good. And she's 16, 17 years old?
17 now.
17.
Yeah, she's a senior.
And she's doing an amazing job.
She's been with us for a couple of years now. So
and that was a true shining light in that position. So it all started back when we started putting ads out on Indeed, and we got one person to come in. The first person that came in, I remember a lot of people that came in.
You probably remember a lot more than I did, because I really had a little bit of struggles in the dining room as well. So finding staff.
First person, gung ho, was a female. She lived right down the road. She came and interviewed. She came in and cooked. all gung-ho after the first weekend. I love it here, I love it here, I love it here. Put it on the schedule next weekend. I can't work for you. Like, okay, so we'll start the journey again. And so this perpetual every week of interviewing
Somebody
people,
new coming in and
new,
trying it.
And early on in our journey, this one kid kept calling for a job. Young man kept calling for a job. I'm like, okay, it's calling. Come interview, give you a shot, right? And he came in, he worked a couple of shifts, and somebody was, I think that was the guy that was like Narcan and that was like overdosed and everything, and was like wasn't alive like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, well, he's hiding it very well. If he's a drug addict or whatever's happened in his life, he's hiding it very well. And after like 3 or 4 shifts, he just fizzled out. We never saw him again. But
we had some, personality issues in the kitchen. I don't know if you're getting to some of those things.
We had one cook that came in that was bragging that he was in prison for a number of years because he put somebody's head on the flat top. He's on the flat top. And he's making this announcement to the other cooks, like, yeah, I just got out of prison. I was in prison because I assaulted another cook and took their head and put it on the flat top cooker. And I'm like, gee, I have to provide, we have to provide a safe workplace. And now that I know this,
I can't have you working here.
I can't really have you working here. And I don't want to assume that this is going to be the situation and stereotype and make you guilty, but it's our job as an employer to provide a safe working place. We had another guy who was helping himself to lobster dinners taking home. Remember that? He was bragging about lobster dinners taking home. Him and his girl.
That was the same guy, wasn't it? Different guy. See, they all flow into each other. We also had a fight break out in the kitchen between two females.
And the one goes, I'm going to pull a gun on you and this and that. We were traveling at the time, but our guests heard it and we got a bad review online. That the kitchen staff is fighting, threatening to pull guns out. And I'm like, this female came in, this young lady came in, so eager, dedicated, this and that. And after a couple of shifts, I think I asked good questions. How do you handle
We
stress?
both asked very good questions.
How do you handle altercations? How do you handle different personalities? They all give you these answers like, oh, I'm great. I'm fine with this, and this. One of the questions I've learned to ask is, tell me the last time you left a job without giving 2 weeks notice. And it catches them off guard. They actually answer the question like, oh, the last time I did that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Another one who just doesn't respect their employer, and every situation is different, right? So maybe some employers don't deserve the respect, but I'd like to think that we deserve the respect and we give the respect. It's a two-way street. So she's doing fine after a couple shifts. We go to one of Justin's baseball games and
we get a phone call that there's a huge fight going on and that they had to be pulled outside and we had to call the cops. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Got to be kidding
me.
Like,
you are looking for a job. You are being employed. Like
it was a new person.
And it was a new person.
New person who started the fight.
And it's crazy to me.
The employee who had been here for 2 years, a year and a half, was simply trying to say, this is how you usually do this, or this is where you get. She was giving her some advice. And she didn't want advice. No. She didn't want advice.
So I don't really.
And then so the guy who's taking home lobster dinners, right? He was also bragging to the staff, "I'll cook you whatever you want," and this and that. Another employee sent an inappropriate text message to another female employee about a certain body part that they wanted to feel up, cop a feel, and we can't. I mean, you can't make this up. You can't make this up.
I mean, you can't make this up. And I know this is not just us. We are not the only ones dealing with all of these staffing issues, but there's got to be a way to combat some of them. And, even in the dining room, we have a few issues here and there with staff, one kid, right? He was, I don't know. He was
one of our employees. He ended up, so you're talking about the one who tried to kill his mother?
Yeah, well, that he worked for us last year. But he
went off the deep end.
Went off the deep end and tried to kill his mother just recently. Yes.
Yeah.
We've had employees that tell me that I micromanage too much.
That's a common one.
Yeah, micromanage is interesting, but it's our restaurant,
training.
right? And it's us teaching you how to do things the way that we would like them to be
And
done.
I always explain to the staff when we hire them, if you were to play professional baseball, professional basketball, a professional team, a college team, non-professional, you're going to have a coach
Who's going?
that's going to micromanage, is going to call the plays,
Mhm.
make sure you're running the plays,
Mhm.
critique you on the plays, and make sure that that happens the next time. They're there to coach you. We are your coach.
Coaches, yes.
There's a specific way we want things. We're going to train you. We're going to give you this online training program. We're going to train in person. We're going to train via Zoom calls. We're going to train, but some of the training is done on the floor. So we're going to critique. How well do you do with criticism? How well do you do with critique? Oh, I love it. I don't mind it. I get to grow as a person. This and this and this and this.
But it's not.
And
it's not really how they feel. Yeah.
Right. And as soon as you tell them, I would have done it that way, or can you do this or this? Why are you micromanaging me? Well, because we can see things that you can't. Because
we've been doing it for 20 years and we know what our expectations are of our guests and of what they're expecting and all that stuff. And we
don't get mad though.
No, we don't get mad. We just correct. And they get mad. The employees get mad when you correct them. And it's an interesting dynamic that's happening right now in our world. And I don't quite know what the answer is. But we've always done staff meetings in person, and we switched, during the pandemic to Zoom meetings. And now I'm finding that I have to do a meeting every night with our staff. At the end of the night, after the shift, I have to go over things. And they're enjoying it more than us just bitching and complaining to them and correcting them in a staff meeting, opposed to all of the staff from that night sitting down and having a discussion.
It's more of like a pep talk you're giving.
It is more like a pep talk. And it's more correcting, but giving them all of the things that we've done for the past 20 years in a half an hour spiel. It's I don't know what the answer is. I think that we are easy to work for. I think that we have very, very high expectations. I think we've become easier to work for over the 20 years. We're established.
Become easier to work for.
We're established. We're what's the words I'm looking for? It's just, I'm not really sure what the answers are. And I'm sure many of the people who are going to be listening to this are dealing with a lot of the same things, just in different,
in all industries,
in different industries is what I was going to say. And I'm not sure. I mean, we just keep changing and, just changing what we're doing, how we're doing it, trying different ways, doing it this way, doing it that way, and just trying to do it over and over and over again as best as we can until we find something that clicks. And then you find something that works, and then you have to start all over again.
The part that sucks is I become immune to the excuses employees give for missing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand it anymore. It kind of gets me in a bad mood when they're constantly having problems and I'm
not saying that some of them aren't legitimate, but
here's the problem. Some of them are, but
some of them have very legitimate problems and legitimate excuses. But when it's the same thing, like how many employees can you have come to work and after they're here for a half an hour end up throwing up and vomiting? Like that happens over and over. They get to work and I just vomited.
It's like crying wolf. I always say that,
I know of the last 10 people that vomited, not all 10 of you that say vomited.
Right.
So like who's telling the truth, who isn't?
Right.
And unfortunate, all these things, we become immune to the excuses, which is unfortunate because there's so many excuses and it's every other day. It's not like once every 2 weeks, it's every other day.
Oh, it's constant.
So if the people have legitimate excuses, we kind of overlook them because it's just, we're bombarded.
And we want to believe that all of these things are true, but it's very hard to believe when it's constantly happening.
Right.
So,
right. And you almost like want to ask them in the interviews, like, when was the last time you got sick? When was the last time you threw up?
Right.
This because I mean, it's literally shocking how many employees come into work and they're fine. And an hour later, I can't get out of the bathroom, I'm vomiting. And that's I've never had 20 years of the restaurant here.
I've never had it as much as we have it now.
Once a year, twice a year. Now it's happening every week.
Every week, yeah.
Every week somebody's and I'm like,
So 2023 has been an interesting staffing year. I would definitely say that I need to, I always try to find a word of the year, and next year my word is going to have to be a little bit different, and I'm going to have to focus on probably focus. It should be my word. Focus on some different areas and different things and different techniques to do.
So now here's what even added to more of our complexities. Our chef in the kitchen, after 6 years, just left.
Yes.
In the fall, just left in the fall after 6 years, moving on, going somewhere else. Totally fine with her decision.
She wants to be with her family more, and very
totally
happy for her. Yeah.
Could not complain that she's dedicated 6 years to working for us and did the job. No complaints at all. Another person in the kitchen that was been working with us 2 years, that was very organized, very clean organization back there, kept a clean station. No drama, always came to work, even when he didn't feel good. I'm like, you should probably go home. You don't feel good. He
left after 2 years. Yeah.
So pretty much the whole.
So we're pretty new right now. Yeah. Everybody's pretty much new, except for our prep cook dishwasher. Wally has been with us for 20 years. So.
Yep. Candace has been with us for 2 years. So we do have a little consistency, but it's a lot.
But we're here. So imagine if we didn't know how to do these jobs, right? Imagine if we had a restaurant that you didn't know how to cook in.
Right. There's a lot of restaurants.
And there's a lot of restaurants like that. Or I didn't know how to take tables and make drinks, and I didn't know how to go into the kitchen. I mean, there was a night a few weeks ago that it was you and I in the kitchen. So that's the plus to having our own restaurant and being in charge of it and knowing what's going on. I can't imagine being in a situation where we couldn't do those things.
Right. So with the new challenges, I want to say for a new episode on how we're handling it.
Yes.
Because I think the solution that we've come up with is amazing. I have some reservations about it, but the system that we've come up with that I'm embracing is an amazing solution and system, and the kitchen is let's talk about that in the next episode.
But in the meantime,
where can they go for more tips on how to run a restaurant?
Excellent. So you can go to 50 mistakes, 50 mistakes, 50mistakes.com. Sorry. We haven't done this in a while. 50mistakes.com to find out more tips and tricks to the restaurant business. Marcus and I have written 2 books as well. Everyone Has to Eat, which is a great book, and 50 mistakes restaurant owners make. So we have 2 books. Actually, you have 3 books out, right? 3 books. So check us out, 50mistakes.com. We are Jamie and Marcus from Aroma Time Bistro in Ellenville, and we are glad that you are here today with us, listening to us ramble about all of the hustle and bustle that we do here in our restaurant.
All right, until next episode, we'll see you then.